Hello there. Welcome to Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson. I'm your host, Bill Polinick, also known as Wild Bill. Thanks for tuning in to our wonderful show. Yes, we are presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson, and they always have events and activities happening on a regular basis. Make sure you follow them on social media to stay on top of the latest news and info from them. And they remind you that every day is a great day for a mammogram. Early detection saves lives, and they ask that we all continue to spread awareness and empower one another. Together, we are making a difference. Well, anybody who has ever driven on I-94 east of Dickinson recognizes the landmark behind me. This is Geese in Flight, part of the 7 sculptures along the Enchanted Highway. Did you know at each sculpture there is a QR code you can scan, or you can call a phone number and a voice will tell you a story of each sculpture. There's even an app you can download to learn these things called Talking Trail. And Talking Trail is not only at the Enchanted Highway, they're also at the Fargo Air Museum, Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park in Mandan, the Buffalo Museum in Jamestown, as well as other areas of interest in other states as well. And they are about to embark on a huge project at the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery. You'll learn more about this as we visit with the founder of Talking Trail, Shawn Brannan of Bismarck. We'll visit with Shawn here in just a minute. So kick back, relax, maybe grab a fresh cup of coffee, and keep the TV where you have it. No flipping. Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson, starts right now.
CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson presents Western Edge Living.
Western Edge Living.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Medora Boot and Western Wear in the heart of historic Medora. Open 10 to 5 every day, but closed Tuesdays. Boot is their middle name, and they have over 1,500 pairs of boots in stock for all ages and sizes. They also have the all-new Higher Boot with many new styles, Western clothes, belts, caps, hats, and more, including a great line of toys and Longhorn wall decor. Medora Boot and Western Wear for the cowboy and cowgirl in you.
Medora boot and Western wear.
At Pancheros, we put a lot of work into building every burrito to last for about 10 minutes. Pancheros, come build your better. At Pancheros, every tortilla starts as a small ball of dough. Then it's fresh pressed to perfection. That's just how we do it. Pancheros, come build your better.
We're back on Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson. Did you know that you can engrave a QR code onto granite and scan it and it works? Now, we're going to get to the rest of that story, but we've got a trail to go down first, a talking trail. And joining us today from Talking Trail, it's my friend Shawn Brannan. Good to see you, Shawn.
Good to see you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in today. What would you be doing if I hadn't encouraged you to come to the show?
Well, I suppose I'd be sitting at my desk here. It's kind of a cold, rainy day today, so no excuse to cut out and be on the golf course. So I'd be just working away.
All right. Well, I'm glad we took you away from your routine to come in and visit with us. Talking Trail. Tell us when somebody you want to tell somebody who doesn't know a thing about Talking Trail, what do you tell them?
You bet. So Talking Trail creates self-guided, expert-led tours. Basically, we take folks beyond the line or two found on a sign by connecting you with an audio or video recording of the whole story.
Okay.
And people love it. So whether you're at a historical site, at the world's largest buffalo in Jamestown, for example, or the Fargo Air Museum, rather than looking at these beautiful plains or this massive buffalo, now you get to hear straight from the experts and kind of hear that inside story. So it's pretty cool.
I would assume that establishing a talking trail, like for instance, Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, you're there. Establishing that, writing the scripts, putting this all together, that's got to be an amazing process. And how do you, is there a one-size-fits-all for that, or how does that work?
Yes and no. I mean, each project, it seems like, kind of takes on its own shape in life. But yeah, I'm lucky. We have a great team that works for us. Our expert writers do a lot of research, interview local experts. Sometimes the client wants to provide the scripts. Other times we're doing some writing. There's sometimes it's some back and forth to kind of nail down the polished script. And then from there, of course, we got a great voiceover team who voices over those scripts. We score them with music or sound effects and get them hosted on. We actually host them 3 different ways so that we don't miss anybody. You can interact with Talking Trail on our mobile app, or each talking point comes with a physical sign, which is key for our success. It lets folks know that there's something to interact with. It also shares the OneSource QR code, which expedites the downloading of the mobile app. And then it shares the phone number, which is huge. A huge demographic of folks who interact with our talking trails do so just by dialing in on the phone number. So that phone number is found on the sign, and you can dial in and hear that talking point, which is key. And then our web page, each client that comes on board also gets a web page, and we're actually going back and making sure that each of those trails has full text. So hearing impaired or folks at a nursing home or something like that can go in and see a larger image as well as the full text to read that talking point.
Basically, the history of the great state of North Dakota and the other places that you're in, mixed with technology that's pretty cutting edge, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're always looking to improve and innovate and get better at what we do too. So as technology improves, so will we. But yeah, we're really excited about the growth that's taken place at Talking Trail. We are throughout North Dakota, as well as in Minnesota, South Dakota, Montana, Colorado, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Oklahoma. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, and the content itself, the story. I mean, first of all, that's got to be researched. It has to be meticulously correct.
Yeah. So
present it.
we definitely try to do a lot of digging. We got to tell the right story. We try not to tell stories that are more general information, but instead try to tell a real specific story that kind of leaves the listener wanting more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do some digging. We'll meet with local experts. We'll write a draft, and then oftentimes the client's group of experts will look it over and say, oh, actually, let's add this or let's change this and get it just right. And then kind of a little back and forth there, and then we take it from there.
I've listened to quite a few of the talking trails that you have, Pembina, Rendezvous region. There's a common denominator that I found. Maybe you found this as I guess I can call you a historian, couldn't I?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah. There's a common denominator that there were a lot of fires that were devastating to these communities early on. Was there? What do you get from that? I mean, is it a case of arson? Is it a case of bad luck? Is it a coincidence? What is it?
I think it's just the reality that these pioneers faced in these early communities, right? I mean, these buildings maybe weren't built with the same materials that they're built with today, right? The electrical isn't what it is today. So yeah, these fires were common in so many communities and pioneer towns across the state and beyond. And it just really encapsulates kind of the challenge that those people were up against, but also that resilient spirit and the ability to overcome. I think that's why we like to share those stories.
As you hear these stories of these pioneers, sleeping in holes in the ground, basically with wagons over the top, things like that, I mean, you really have to admire what they put up with, what they withstood over the years to survive.
Yeah, if I ever feel myself like wanting to complain about something, I kind of remember some of those talking points that we've had our hand in. And I mean, yeah, to arrive in North Dakota, you don't have time to build a home, so you tip your wagon over, and your family lives underneath that for the winter. I mean, I just can't imagine what that would have been like but yeah, talk about overcoming adversity and kind of coming together as a community. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Now, not only, the historical data that you provide to people from all these locations you're in, you're also into art. Is that Art Alley in Bismarck? A collection of murals that enhance the community, and you have the artists themselves doing the talking points. Talk about that.
We do, yeah. So I remember. So I traveled a lot. I actually taught at the University of Castilla-La Mancha in Spain, and while I was there, I was going all over Europe and kind of paying for what I like to call the dirty head foam tour at these magnificent museums, right? And walking around, and I'm got an iPhone in my pocket at the time, so I'm asking myself how in the world that's still taking place, right? And then I'm also surrounded by these magnificent works of art. Like I'm thinking of the Musée d'Orsay, which is this famous museum in Paris where Monet has these huge, massive water lily panels. It's actually a 2-room space, and you're surrounded by these huge paintings. You can still smell the oil. And here's an artist who struggled with self-doubt, right? So if we could hear, he actually ripped up and burned dozens and dozens of paintings. Of course, his paintings now are worth, millions and millions of dollars. But to hear someone like that tell his story and to hear him struggle with self-doubt and then to be looking at this magnificent work of art in front of you, I feel like could be a real transformative process, right? So, of course, he's gone, but now we have these incredible artists that are still around today. So for the Art Alley project in Bismarck, Art Alley 5.5, we had the chance to interview or get recordings out to a bunch of the artists on that project. And now we get to hear their voices talking about really whatever they want, is what I often say. If it's, kind of the symbolism, if it's part of the mural that they were most challenged by, they can talk about that, a little bit on their background, just really whatever they want to share. I think us as an audience is really excited to hear those stories.
Yes, you mentioned self-doubt, but once you get an artist talking about the mural in front of them, you can hear the excitement, and that's self-doubt. You would never guess that they possess that quality in their personality, but artists in general, have you found that they have that self-doubt? They're always, well, it's not quite like it should be, kind of an attitude.
Yeah, I think we're always our own greatest critic, right? So I think that probably is something that is often shared by artists, maybe.
Another layer to Talking Trail that you've paid particular attention to is Native American history, and there's a lot of really good Native American history in your Talking Trail.
Definitely. So in North Dakota here we have 2 Native American trails. We have the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Trail, which is incredible, sharing a ton of the history up there, and then we have the Standing Rock Fort Yates Trail here in or just south of Bismarck there. Really neat to hear those stories. The Fort Yates story is a lot of artists, but we also do a campus tour as well at Sitting Bull College. Often we have their voices sharing these stories. We just wrapped up another project for the Ponca tribe of Nebraska. Amazing. I mean, some of these talking points were done in English, some were done in the Ponca language. Each talking point for that project was voiced over by a different elder within that tribe, which I think is just amazing, right? It's going to have such a profound impact, not just today, but 10 years from now, when these, 10, 20, 30 years from now, when these elders are no longer around, and we can still hear their voices sharing their passionate stories. I think it is important work to do. One
that got my attention was there's a talking trail where a youngster is reciting, you have an elder who's reciting in the Native American language, but then a younger voice comes on basically translating what that elder just said. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great way to connect those older generations with the younger generations, and I think us younger folks need to learn so much from these older generations. Right. There's so much to learn, so hopefully we can help do some of that.
I think you have all the large animals covered in the state of North Dakota, everywhere from the fish in Garrison to the buffalo in Jamestown. Salem Sioux.
Salem Sioux, we got that. We got Wally and Did you say the fish in Garrison?
And you've got the animals on the Enchanted Highway.
Enchanted Highway, yep. I feel like there is one more that we're missing, maybe in Wapaton. Is there something like a turtle?
There could be the turtle, I think. Yes.
We need the turtle.
We need the turtle. Yes. Speaking of that, is there any place that you don't have your presence now, but you're working on getting there? Yeah,
so we're always looking to grow. It seems like the west side of the state, actually, we could really afford to grow a little bit bigger here in western North Dakota.
You're in Glendive, Montana.
Yeah, we are in Glendive. We're in the entire northeastern Missouri River country, Montana, and adding more. We're in Ekalaka, Montana as well, Carter County, but we have another project coming up in Sidney, Baker, and another community. I'm drawing a blank. Maybe Miles City. So
you, speaking of Ekalaka, I think you do a lot with paleontology, don't you?
We do. Yep. Try to share a lot of those stories, right? Especially, I mean, the geology is so incredible. So to kind of share some of those stories with the land and tie it into, that paleontology aspect for sure.
Yeah, great. So you're growing. I mean, how was this idea conceived? Can you share with us that?
So it kind of like I had mentioned, I was over in Europe. Teaching at a university over there, going and doing all these kind of museum tours with the Dirty Head Foam tour. Came back, met with Marlo Anderson, who kind of had this idea at the time, and I kind of ran with it.
The National Calendar Guy, National Day Calendar Guy.
You bet. Yeah, so started on it with him a little bit and then kind of took it over and have been running with it ever since.
Doing a great job, too.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
fun
you're
work.
about to embark on another huge project that I know you've been working on for a while. And hold that thought, as we mentioned when we opened, about the QR code on Granite and how that works. We're going to explain why we brought that up today when we continue with Shawn Brannan of Talking Trail here on Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson.
You know I got 2 home runs.
You got 2 jacks.
And then my grand slam, I signed the ball for you.
Okay.
And it says, Papa, I love you.
Why did you do that?
Because you taught me everything about baseball.
You're so sweet.
Service Pro Express Lube, now open on East Villar Dickinson, gets your vehicle serviced quickly and you're back on the road in no time. No appointment required. You don't even get out of your vehicle. They utilize Service Pro oil, the only oil produced and refined in the U.S., and it meets or exceeds vehicle manufacturer requirements. Plus, they top off all fluids and perform multi-point inspections. It's part of what's offered at Service Pro Express Lube. Students looking for a part-time gig? Inquire at Service Pro Express Lube. Ask about the Scholarship Incentive Program. Service Pro Express Lube, East Villar Dickinson, next to Lucky's.
Download the Consolidated MyTV app, available now at Google Play or the App Store.
There's a lot of options a person can be doing with their day right now, but here you are watching our show, and we are so very grateful. This is Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson, as we visit with Shawn Brannan, cutting-edge technology guru, if you will, a historian. Let's talk about your love of history. You almost have to have a fondness for history to do what you do.
Definitely. I've always liked the idea of, I think everybody loves history in a lot of ways. I think some of us maybe aren't willing to admit it, or maybe we need to just tell the right story, right? So what I like to do with Talking Trail is catch people before maybe they've had the chance to put up their history deflector shields, and tell that story, and then maybe midway they're like, oh wow, this is a great story, right? So that's what we try to do is not just connect with people who love history, of course we love doing that, but also folks who maybe don't consider themselves history buffs. We want them to hear a story and then say, oh wow, that was cool, and then they're going to want to retell that one around the campfire, around the dinner table. That's the goal.
Do you know, is there any way to gauge, do you have young people that are utilizing your products? Yeah,
so we have analytics that gives us a lot of feedback. So with the dial-in system, often, that's probably going to be a little older demographic. The mobile app is going to be a bit younger, but trying to make sure that we're connecting with folks in all those different ways. So the website, mobile app, dial-in system.
Yeah. We mentioned in the program a couple of times, that you're embarking on a new project, and I know you've been working on this for some time, and what a concept it is. Talk about the project you are going to be doing, or you are doing now, for the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery in Mandan.
You bet. So the idea actually started from Talking Trail. Way back, we were doing a project for the community of Jamestown, and I think it came after that project had come to fruition. But we had the chance to get some recordings from passionate leaders in the community. We often do that with Talking Trail. The lady that we included on that was a lady by the name of Mary Young Faith, who I want to say was like 92 years old at the time, Bill. she's telling these stories about what the church steps at the St. Peter or the St. James Basilica in Jamestown mean to her. And she's talking about how she remembers going up and down them for like 60, 70 years. I mean, here's a matriarch of the community who took 4th and 8th graders on community tours for, like 70 years. I mean, just an incredible human being, right? I realized pretty quickly as I was in that room with her sharing her story that I was lucky to be there, and we're lucky to have that recording so that other people can hear what she has to say, because she's since passed away, right? So the idea there is similar. So let's share the stories of our own stories, grandparents, friends, whatever it is. So we're building this app for the Brannon Veterans Cemetery. It's actually live right now in iOS stores. It'll be live in Android by the end of the week. But the idea there is each interred has a profile page. On that profile page, folks can upload text, audio, or video stories, right? So what I think would be really neat is, say you have a grandparent that's buried out there, and you go out there to visit the grandparent, and maybe you share a story, but also a friend of his or a friend of hers shares a story that you didn't even know, right? So now you get to interact and experience the story about your grandparent from a friend of theirs that you otherwise wouldn't have had the chance to experience. And that's kind of the idea. It's a living epitaph, if you will. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. One option, as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you can have a QR code engraved right onto the headstone should you choose to do that.
So we thought about going that route. We actually decided not to. There was a little pushback on kind of the idea of putting different placards on the headstones out of the Veterans Cemetery. It's such a serene, kind of peaceful place. We didn't want to cross any lines there, I guess, so to speak.
Noise pollution.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
any of that. So instead, it's just all on the mobile app.
Okay.
You can explore map. You can zoom in with your fingers and tap a headstone, and then, so without even needing a QR code, you can see who's interred there, view their profile. You can get step-by-step directions. I mean, there's over 11,000.
Okay, well, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go to this app, and you have a loved one buried at the North Dakota Veterans Cemetery, and if you've ever been there, you know it's massive. I mean, it's all lined up. Everything is,
Yeah.
very, and finding a loved one's where they're buried, finding their gravesite is very difficult. However, as I understand it, with this app, you can type in their name, and it'll give you said step by step.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was the hard part of building this app, was making sure that we're utilizing the walking paths whenever possible when giving those directions. But yeah, there are over 11,000 interred, I believe, out at the Veterans Cemetery. So getting step-by-step directions to the headstone of your choosing, and then being able to interact with those stories. You can do that whether you're at the cemetery, whether you're at home. You can upload the stories, again, whether you're at the cemetery or at home. So it really opens a lot of doors for folks who maybe want to visit friends who are buried out there,
Sure.
but maybe they're at a nursing home, or maybe they're not able to drive on a winter day, something like that. So it's a good way to kind of virtually visit those folks.
Wow. What I would think that the options for the content for the memorial are limitless.
Yeah, really. I mean, as a grandson myself, as a brother, as a dad, right? Like any story I feel like that a loved one wants to share, it could be just a fun day that they had together. Any of those stories I think would be really entertaining and interesting for loved ones to interact with and experience. So,
something that comes to mind is I read a book called 50 Things That Are Good. And it was 50 chapters written by 50 people, and it was 2 pages per chapter. But one thing that, one chapter that stands out in my mind, what they recommended to do that's good is go to a cemetery and find the graves and say the names out loud. When you do that, that keeps their memory alive. And I think what you're doing, Shawn, with the Veterans Cemetery in Mandan, I think that is another thing that is good, because anytime you're honoring the memory, particularly of veterans that have given their life, some of them gave their life for our country, wow, that is flat out amazing. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, we're lucky. We're lucky to have the opportunity to do it. For every either text, audio, or video recording that's uploaded now through the 1st of 2025, we're actually going to be matching to include or to offer enlisted servicemen currently with the ability to upload an audio or text story, so that these folks who haven't passed away yet can record their own voices. That's when I think it's really cool, right? If you have some grandparents that are around, go interview them, ask them questions that you want to hear, ask them questions. What would it be like for you to hear your great-great-great-grandma talk, or your great-great-great-grandfather talk about things that he was passionate about, right? I just think it'd be so fascinating to hear these stories. And sometimes we take it for granted, right? Like the ability to hear their voices. So yeah, I think that'd be neat. But yeah, from now through the end of the year, any text or audio upload that's done on the Epitaph Innovation mobile app will match with a free upload for an enlisted serviceman so that they can share their story as well. Because you're absolutely right. These veterans have done so much, and it just makes sense that we memorialize and remember them.
What are you getting for feedback? It's early in the game. You're just getting started. You just went hot with the Epitaph app.
Yep.
What's kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
Ultra positive.
Yeah.
We've spoke at a number of different groups, VA clubs, things like that. And yeah, people are blown away by the idea. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of a simple thing, I feel like, but yeah, we're just fortunate to be in the position to do this work, and it's not lost on us. We feel lucky.
Do you see this growing? Is there going to be other veteran cemeteries, Arlington, Virginia?
So Arlington has its own app. I really like the visual look of ours. I think it's real inherent and easy to use. But yeah, we definitely want to grow to other veteran cemeteries. The plan is actually to even offer all other public cemeteries by March 15th of 2025. So the idea there with the veteran cemetery, you have very enhanced GPS locating directions to different headstones. For the public cemeteries, at least starting out, instead of that kind of GPS guided directions to the headstone, it'll be a static map. So you'll still be able to find the headstone, but it'll kind of be utilizing the methods that are already offered today. So, but all in one app, and then of course still being able to share the text, audio, and video stories of folks who are interred at public cemeteries as well.
If we want to get a hold of you, we can go to talkingtrail.com. There's a contact form there.
Yep.
On the Epitaph side, is there any?
www.epitaphinnovation.com. You can upload stories on there today. You can download the app and upload stories on the app as well. And then you can, of course, contact me through either of those routes.
Born and raised in Dickinson, and I'm thinking somebody's watching right now going, say, where have I seen this guy before? I think was I buying fireworks or something when they wouldn't be wrong, would they?
No, yeah, I've been selling fireworks since I was probably 8 years old at the Bennett Coal Mine in Dickinson. I love Dickinson. I love the community of Dickinson. I have a lot of friends and family that still live here. But yeah, I watched my brothers and sisters all play out at Trinity High School, and remember going to all the small town gyms and cheering them on. But yeah, I love Dickinson. Grew up out at Heart River Golf Course. Played a lot of golf out there. Yeah, a lot of great memories, though, of Dickinson. It's a great community.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we should mention you're now north of Dickinson on the 4th of July.
Yeah, we got the big warehouse up there on
Memory
north
Fireworks?
on Highway 22. Memory Fireworks. We're about 1.5 miles north of Walmart there on the west side of Highway 22. Huge warehouse. So yeah, it's always fun to get back, and kind of ends up just being a party. I got a lot of nieces and nephews who come out and work, and yeah, it's a great time.
As we wrap up, is there any question that I didn't ask? Any information that you would think that our viewer might be interested in? Or?
I don't think so. I guess I'd ask if you do like the work that we're doing, and the audiences that see this, if you hop on Facebook or you hop on the app stores and can give us a like, we'd appreciate it. Those actually go a long way. So.
All right, Shawn Brannan with Talking Trail and Epitaph Innovation.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Thank you for joining us today. We greatly appreciate it.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right, safe travels home.
Cheers.
And if you've got an idea for Western Edge Living, we'd love to hear it. Go to our website, westernedgelivingtv.com. Our contact information is all there. So on behalf of CHI, St. Alexius Health Dickinson, I'm Wild Bill. Thank you for watching Western Edge Living.
Western Edge Living.